Here we are at Electric Classic Cars with Moggy. How you doing, buddy?
All right.
Yeah. Finally, I made it. How many do you think you've done so far?
72.
72.
You see how quick that was?
Yeah.
Because we counted it up the other day because somebody else asked me.
You're going to give us a walk around the workshop, and also you're going to take us out in a car. I'm not sure what it is yet.
You'll have to pick one.
Pick one?
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be great. I think I might see one over there. That
You're looking at the red one, aren't you?
it might be a certain colour of red. Yes, I'm really looking forward to this. And
Cool.
like I said, thank you very much for letting us come and have a poke around.
No worries, mate. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right. Fancy a tour then?
Yes, please.
Go on then. Step into the sweet shop, into the toy shop. So yeah, we've got a couple of cars undercover here which are mid-build. But if I walk you through the process, probably the easiest way to do it. So a car will come in and get stripped. So we've got another Ferrari Testarossa here. There's a finished one outside. So we'll like strip out all the dirty, smelly stuff. So all the engine, petrol tank, everything gets stripped out. So if you come around the back, you can see the amount of space we have to play with in the Ferrari. It's cavernous.
Loads of space.
So yeah, I mean, there's a V12 in a flat configuration. It usually sits there, and it sits right up to here and all the way to here. So it's quite a beast of an engine that sits in there. So the first process is strip it all out and start planning where we're going to put stuff. Before we actually get into this, I should have mentioned, if we can, we will drive the cars to make sure that, you know, things like the indicator, steering, wheel bearings don't need to get changed. So we're kind of checking the car over, but some cars come in non-working. But if they do come in working, we'll drive them, snag any 12-volt issues or any other mechanical issues before we start the conversion. But we'll also corner weight it, which is really important to get the balance right when we're putting in the battery packs. But this is kind of the starting point normally for our process.
Lovely. And what's next in the workshop? Because yeah, there's so much to see, right?
Yeah, well, we've got 16 cars in at the moment. We've got, what have we got? We've got an Aston Martin, Jensen Interceptor, Porsche 911, there's a Triumph Vitesse under there. There's a Maserati Ghibli, which is actually finished, has been for a while, but we're waiting for the gearbox to get rebuilt. I've got a Land Rover 130.
She's a real beast.
That is the biggest project we've taken on so far. So this is 165 kilowatt hour battery pack. We've got 84 kilowatt hours going in the front. And then the rest is going underneath the back seat and underneath the rear deck where the petrol tank used to go. So that's a beast of a thing. Can't wait for this to get running. And then we've got a Porsche 356A, which is a really early 356 up there. Hyper 9 motor, that's all it really needs. Battery pack, so Fabrication guys have kind of finished their bit. So we've got the battery box and front battery box all done. So that's kind of ready to get finished off. They've got to figure out how they're going to mount this box yet. They just put some temporary stays in for now, just to get the height right, and then we've got to figure out how we're going to bolt it in. So we're probably going to come off that bolt there and maybe come around to the bumper irons, which is another good mounting point, because everything, as you know, has to be bolt in.
Absolutely, yeah.
So not just because you've got to be respective of a classic car, not like cut or weld into it, but also the fact that you know, it's nice to have a reversible process for clients. And then the DVLA radically altered point system isn't triggered. So everything has to be completely bolt in. And then next to that, we've got a Defender 110. That's from South Africa.
A fetching beige.
Yes.
Hearing aid beige, as they call it.
Yeah, I think it's a cream actually. But yeah, weirdly enough, it's got a white roof on. Don't ask me why. But South African market is a right-hand drive market. So this is really nice and dry chassis. amazing condition chassis for an early Defender. And then we've got a new axle going on it, which is just getting finished built up right now. So that's got disc brakes, because usually the early Defenders have drum brakes at the back.
Yeah.
So we've got disc brakes going on this, so that's ready to go back in, and then we can start the rest of the process. We've got most of the kit already. We've got a battery box somewhere around the place, and then we've got a synchro.
Just on the Defender quickly, what is the...
Which one? We got three.
Just the cream/beige one.
Yep.
After the UK, what is the biggest EV converter market for you? What other countries?
The US.
US.
Yeah, most of our kits that we sell go to the US. So we've got bolt-in conversion kits for Fiat 500, Mini, Porsche 911, Porsche 912, Porsche 914, VW Beetle, Land Rovers. I'll probably miss them out. And the majority of those kits go to the North American market.
Right.
And when we talk about kits, they are bolt-in kits with looms. In fact, if you come over here, you'll see some. So there are kits and there are kits, let's say. Some kits are just literally, here's some batteries and some parts and a coil of cables and away you go. Our kits are complete bolt-in like solutions. So this is 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. So we've got 3 mini kits here.
Oh, wow.
Nearly ready to go out.
Yep.
And you can see what I mean by everything's kind of done. So all the cables are the right length. You've got the plugs on. You've even got any bulkheads like attachments all kind of done.
Yep.
So the idea is it just gets bolted in. You can tell this is for the American market. So you've got a Type 1 charge socket. So I've got 3 mini kits just going out probably this week. So you got the high voltage loom, low voltage loom. So this is your low voltage loom, 12 volt control systems, etc. All your Molex plugs in various different places. And then the battery box and motor and cradle and everything will be, they're over there by the looks of it, getting all powder coated.
Which kit is this? Is this for a Hyper 9 kit or a Tesla?
Tesla.
It's the Tesla kit. Wow.
Yes, the Tesla. So these are the high performance. We do 2 mini kits really, the high performance one with the Tesla motors in and a lower performance one with another motor in, not Hyper 9.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's similar to the recharged one that I might have driven last week. Similar sort of...
what power is that?
Yeah.
It's 100 kilowatt is the lower power one.
Do you know what? I'll have to put it down at the bottom of the screen because I can't remember, Moggy.
These are, I have a feeling they are 30, possibly even 35 kilowatt hour battery packs.
Okay.
So
wow.
this is a decent range, decent amount of power. It's kind of the higher end of the mini kits, like world, if you like.
Yeah. What's the range on that? That must be.
Oh, it's good. 150.
Yeah, that's much bigger range than the one I drove.
If not more, to be fair.
Wow.
Depends how you drive it. Because the trouble is, if you've got a huge, powerful motor under your right foot, you tend to use it. Or I do anyway. But if you're driving sensibly with a 30 kilowatt hour battery pack, yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you can't get up higher than 150 mile range, 180.
So the mild or the wild? And like I said earlier, your taps are quite wild because I wet. Oh, it's dry now.
It's dry.
It's dry now. Can't see.
Yeah, it's always mild or wild. I'm a wild sort of like, or I err on the wild side of conversions for my personal taste.
Absolutely.
But obviously, not all customers are like me and put a 600 horsepower Tesla motor in the back of a Beetle. So
Mental.
Some people more sensible things. So if I take you down the fabrication end. So when we start the process, it's kind of, it's a little bit like Meccano and Lego bricks. You're trying to figure out where you can fit stuff. So the start of the process, which is why the white Land Rover's down here, is the fabrication guys. So they've got to try to figure out how much or where we can fit things. So for instance, here's a Land Rover box here. So this is a front Land Rover box, aluminium.
This is from the...
This is for the black one.
Black one, yeah.
So on this, for instance, it mounts onto the Puma engine mounts. So there's your engine mounts either side. You've got header tanks already bolted to it. The pumps are already on it. So most of the stuff that we can, we'll already have bolted to the box, including things like the power steering box as well.
What pumps do you use for the header tanks here?
We have a Tesla pump on the motor and inverter side, and the pump on those, what? Davis Craig, is it? Davis Craig on the battery.
Thanks, buddy.
Tony, your workshop manager. So yeah, most of the stuff will be attached to the battery box, including obviously the batteries and everything already in there with the plugs. And the idea is you just drop that into the engine bay, and then you just need to put your cables from the battery pack then to the motor and to the heater and to other things like power steering, not power steering, air conditioning compressor.
Yep.
And it's a really simple install. We're trying to get the Land Rover kit down to around about a day to a couple of day install. We've done a Beetle kit and a Fiat 500 kit install in a day, but Land Rover kits, it's a little bit more complicated, but we're trying to simplify it now with everything kind of like enclosed onto the battery box.
Perfect.
So yeah, fabrication is kind of where the battery boxes get created. There's a load of battery boxes finished here, so we've got a Porsche 912 rear box and a front box. You got mini kits, so there's a mini front box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other mini boxes made up, ready to go out as well.
How many kits have you done so far for the Mini?
Oh, a lot.
Wow.
Great.
There's
30 or 40, Tony reckons. So we've got jigs for all the kits, you see. So we've got a Defender box up there. That's a Porsche 914 box up there. So when we do the kits, we'll make up a jig,
yep,
which represents the vehicle itself. We've got Barty. We've got a jig down here. Oh no, that's a mini one. We got a lot. What's that jig there? Porsche. Yeah, that's a Porsche 912 then, isn't it?
Yes.
So this jig is a kind of a mock-up representation of the actual mounting points of the car.
right.
So all these bits here mean that, you know, when we're doing the tube work to the various different mounting points, we don't need the car here. So we can build a mounting kit, if you like, without having the vehicle here. So you'll see a lot of these dotted around the place in various different crates. And oh, there you go, Ferrari Testarossa one there. Another Porsche 914 jig over there in the distance.
You could argue that it's EV conversion gold, really, isn't it, that stuff? So if I take one, chuck one in the van.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't got a TVR one for you.
God damn it.
So, but yeah, most of the metal magic happens down here.
Yeah.
And there's a mini one there, for instance, just a jig. It's just a reference point for, because there's Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3s minis, and obviously some of the subframes and mounting points can be different. So we'll have different versions for different makes, or not makes, marks.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's another jig there.
The mock-up vehicle one in it.
So that is a Beetle, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a Beetle jig there, and we've got a finished one somewhere, haven't we, down the bottom? So we'll use that as the for a jig, and then that. Then, if I show you right the way down the bottom, all right. So what we then end up with, if you like, is a cradle that then the motor, be it whatever motor we use, will then mount onto. So essentially, this cradle down here, for instance, is the end result from getting that Beetle jig out, and then that will then house the Tesla motor. So that'll have probably a Tesla small in it. Bolts onto the front gearbox mount here, frame horns here, and holds, no, not frame horns there, sorry, and then holds the motor in place. And that's now, along with 1, 2, 3 more mini kits going out for powder coating.
Wow. I didn't realise how popular the Tesla small drive unit was for you.
Yeah, so the small drive unit is quite a nice compact unit. We also use the Tesla Model 3, which is really popular, probably more popular I would have thought. And then obviously for performance applications, it's all around the Tesla large drive unit. But weirdly enough, a lot of people think, oh, we use all Tesla second-hand parts. There's only about 30% of our builds that use Tesla stuff. Well, everybody thinks we use Tesla because, I'll tell you what it is, it's because the high-performance wild conversions we do all have Tesla in. And they're the ones that go on YouTube and go viral and stuff like that. So, but most of the stuff, we don't have Tesla stuff in.
Is that from the Fiat 500s and the smaller motor stuff? I take
Yeah,
it?
for Hyper 9s we use a lot of Fiat 500s and other motors as well. We use... I've forgot the name of it now. There's a Continental motor we've used, which is quite good.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I saw
like
that
those.
a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, 100 kilowatt motor.
Yep, good continuous power with that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Because it's OEM, it's quite smooth as well in the power delivery and the way it transitions into regen and all that. So yeah, quite like that motor.
Awesome. No, thank you.
Right, what else do we want to show you? Let's show you a car in build.
Yes.
You see the Synchro.
She's
So-
a beaut.
My Land Rover's in because that's one of our test mules, so we're always testing new systems. So we're just doing a little bit of a motor drop. In fact, the motor's already come out. Pete's just dropped it out.
Yeah.
So the motor's been dropped out. We're going to split it all apart just to see how our gear set is behaving, because we've got our own 4.5 to 1 gear set that's in there, because previously we've used other gear sets which ended up being quite noisy and have backlash and clattery, so we ended up having to design, develop and manufacture our own. So this has done about 2,000 miles now, so we're going to split it apart, just see how that's going. Also, I've been off-roading a lot, as you can probably tell.
Yes,
So
yeah.
so we want to make sure there's no water ingress or any issues that has been caused by me hammering it in the mud. And also just double check that our breather system that we're using is not allowing any liquids to go in. So that's why that's here.
What does the breather system do? Because obviously you don't change oil on motors as such.
Well,
sometimes the gear oil, occasionally I guess.
You can't completely seal a gearbox or any engine that gets hot or cold, because obviously internally you don't want to have pressure building up. Otherwise, when something gets hot, the gas wants to expand.
Yep.
And if you haven't got a breather, it'll be pushing out that gas/oil out of every gasket orifice it can.
Yeah.
So you always have a breather on a gearbox or engine, quite frankly.
And it's been totally reliable, the Tesla drive unit for you? Because I know that it gets some hammering.
I have blown one up, which was in my Beetle some years back. It was when I turned everything up to 11 because I was doing a car wow video.
Okay.
There was a car that we were filming and I thought, I really want to win this. So I turned everything up to 11, never done it before,
Yep.
on a runway. And I did one run, blitzed the other car, blitzed it. On the second run, I also blitzed it, but at the end, something was definitely not quite right in the motor. It was making a funny noise. The sort of noise you think, this isn't good, and also it's gonna cost me. And then I couldn't do the third run, so I was gutted. So yeah, I blew a phase on a Tesla motor. So we found the upper end of where a Tesla motor can survive.
Right.
So
was it? What was the controller you're using on that Tesla?
That
motor?
was a Zero EV controller.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, we
was it the one you were playing around with when you had Guy driving it at Santa Bod? Because I think you were trying to push it then, weren't you?
Yeah. But that was that was before I blew it up.
Right.
Yeah, I was really, because with those boards, and same with the open source ones, you can really tune them. But you have to put in a lot of effort to tune it, know what you're doing, but you can push it way beyond its comfortable limits. and if you're not careful, you can blow an inverter up, which is essentially what I did. But that's the only time I've ever had an issue. I've had no mechanical problems with it. I haven't stripped any gears or anything like that. So, but we have to do a lot of work on the Tesla motors to seal them for water ingress. So if we are going to put them in Land Rovers, there's a lot of, enhancements, if you like, that we have to do to make sure that that thing can go in water.
Wow, I didn't realise that. That's
yeah.
okay.
And no, I'm not going to show you. I'll show you off camera.
Fair enough.
So have a look at this build over here. This is a build that's for a client.
When we last spoke about last year in March, when we had our video call, you were doing this, and as I said at the time, it is actually, I'm not a massive VW camper van fan, sorry, Moggy, but this is actually my favourite in terms of the camper vans.
Well, if you have a look from this angle here, so we've had to completely restore it because it was a good 6 footer, as they say. So from 6 feet away, you thought, yeah, that's quite a nice car. The closer you got, and then we start. It's like wallpaper. You start peeling a little bit, and then you realise actually there's like rust issues all over the place. So loads of new panels, and now it's literally like a new vehicle as far as the body is concerned.
LED light strip at the top as well.
Yeah, and then at the same time, we've kind of done something I always quite like to do on classic cars, which is dechrome them.
Yeah.
So we've kind of dechromed a lot of the grills and things like that. So we matte black them, which I think just makes them look nice, modernises the look a little bit. It's good to do on certain vehicles, and I think this vehicle has definitely taken to matte blacking a lot of the chrome work.
It's like an American Chieftain tank green.
Yeah, I don't know what the green is, but it's nice. It definitely helps to have the black on it to tone it down. But this has got, if we go around this way, so this has got a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack in.
Okay.
It's 4-wheel drive, obviously. We've done a suspension lift as well, so I think it's something like a 3 to 5 inch suspension lift, which is fully adjustable as well. We've got you'll have to work around the guys because they're just putting it back together here now. We've got a Zonic 120 motor in there.
Right.
So that's attached to the original gearbox because this has got a very good 4x4 system in it. So we didn't really want to mess around with that. So the guys are just hooking that all up now because we've done a dry run of it before it went for paint. So now this is the final furlong, if you like. So we've done a dry run of this already before it went for paint. So we know it kind of works and drives. But now this is the final build-up, if you like. So we've done the dress rehearsal. This is the actual, final one.
Time for the prom.
Yeah, time for the prom. So as far as battery packs are concerned, we've got one over there. If I open up the side. So we've got one here. So this seat was always here previously, but it kind of ended around about there. Right. And for us to be able to fit in the batteries that we wanted, we've just extended it to there. So we've lost a little bit of internal space there, but not much. So still got a seat there. And then underneath the rear seat is the other main bit of the battery pack.
Yep.
And then just to be able to get 100 kilowatt hour pack in, there's another small pack that goes at the back. So see that slimline one there on the floor, this one here. So that there sits, it's about 3 inches. So that then sits here. Because when this was, petrol, there was, in fact, you can see the woodwork here, there was a panel that came across here, so that when the rock and roll bed folds out, this is at the right height. So underneath here was wasted space. So we thought, well, it's about 3 inches, so instead of just having empty space, we'll put another couple of batteries there, and that's got us to 100 kilowatt hours.
And is this going to be a water-cooled EV conversion?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it a bit of a nightmare getting the coolant, or do you use what type of coolant do you use on the batteries for that particular pack?
So it's a non-conductive coolant, just in case you have a leak. you don't really want to risk it.
Sorry, I don't mean the coolant as such. I mean, do you have? Is it plates, cooling plates you've got?
Oh no, this is Tesla batteries in this.
Ah, right, got it.
So they already have the coolant system
Okay.
integral within them. There's a lot of other, like these packs underneath the benches here that are already pre-made up. You can see the coolant plates there in between each battery module. So those are calbs.
Yeah, it makes complete sense that you'd use Tesla modules for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of battery packs. There's a Land Rover front battery pack there. That's probably empty by the looks of it, and over there. So these are, that's empty. So they're probably the ones that are going to go in that cream Defender that we saw earlier. And these are some of the loom boards that guys are working on now. So we've got Ferrari Testarossa low voltage loom board. So this is another Ferrari Testarossa kit getting made up here now. And another Ferrari Testarossa LV loom. So there's quite a complicated loom setup with a Ferrari.
I bet.
And then the guys are also doing another low voltage. You can tell it's low voltage because there's no orange.
Right.
So there's no big orange cables going on.
Yeah.
So this is a mini. The guys are busy doing a mini low voltage loom. So you got all the connectors to go to various different places. So this is the 12-way to the front battery box.
Sorry, mate.
You got the inertia switch, which is part of your R100 regs.
Yep.
So essentially, if there's an accident,
Yep.
it'll isolate everything. And just over there, we've got lots of other loom boards.
Oh wow, yeah.
There for different vehicles and different kits, from Porsche 911s to VWs, you name it, they're all up there. So
what? It caught my eye straight away. The Lamborghini.
oh yeah. Yeah, that's one of those I'll get around to it type projects.
Oh, yeah.
But before we do that one, I've got to finish this one over here. Because I've got my race car project.
Ah, yes, Buffy.
Buffy, yeah. It's not much to see at the moment because it's just a shell. But because the chassis has gone off for powder coating.
Right.
So the chassis, the battery boxes, everything that holds this thing together has gone off for powder coating.
Yeah.
Which just leaves us the shell, the skin, if you like.
And what's the next stage after the powder coating?
Oh, that's when it gets really interesting, because that's when I can start putting it back together. So my motor, my motors, because there's two of them, are over there with all the other motors around the corner.
Yep.
The loom and all my other bits are on that shelf, because this is the way the workshop works. Normally the car goes in a bay, and then the shelves behind it are where all the bits are.
Got it.
So all the stuff to put it back together are there. So when the chassis comes back, you won't see me for the dust, because every evening and weekend I'll be here making it up until it's kind of running. And then we've got to then we'll get it running without the bodywork on, which will be fun, because it'll just be driving around like a frame buggy thing.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put the bodywork on, get it painted gloss white, before then we can do the proper paint job, which is going to be quite special. Yeah.
Colour.
My lips are sealed.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And the wheels hopefully should be arriving soon as well. So, yeah, beast of a project. Can't wait for this one.
No, definitely keep an eye on that on the channel.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What else do we want to have a look at? Do you want to go out for a spin?
Yeah, let's go out for a spin. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, whatever. Go on, take you out in the Testarossa.
I'm in an electric Ferrari. This is crazy.
It's the only Ferraris I've ever driven are electric. I don't think I've ever driven a petrol Ferrari yet.
Well, my first Ferrari is going to be an electric experience. How about that? Oh, good, we've got straps.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you've seen some of my videos before, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Well, you'll be pleased to know I've got traction control on this thing.
Oh.
So,
we could always turn that off.
No.
No?
It's a handful, and I'm in my work boots. Thing is with the Ferraris, right, and any Ferrari owners out there will know this, that you need to have really slim feet.
Right.
It's like Italian men must have like really, really slim feet, because I can't fit my foot between the throttle and the brake. So if I put my foot down there now,
yeah,
I'm going to touch the... So I can only do it like that.
Mm.
So yeah, but that's... And the other thing on Ferraris is the ashtray is always massive. So this has got the EV
and the
controls.
wine holder. Don't forget the wine holder.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the dashboard. Not the dashboard. The
glove box, is it?
No, yeah, glove box. But what do they call that mirror? Look at that. To do your makeup.
Good. Yeah, yeah.
So
I think we're all right, just about.
So it's some Italian gigolo with you know, Dolly Babe in the passenger seat. There's a huge mirror.
It's
that is just like there to do your makeup.
I can tell you've not been using it. It's dusty.
Yeah,
right.
I don't,
need.
I don't
no
need
need
such things, mate. I'm beautiful.
That's it. We're all beautiful.
Right. So this has got the EV controls T2C controller in that you were asking about for your TVR. And if I show you how simple it is, it literally, because it's fooling the motor into still thinking it's in a Tesla.
Yep.
The drivability is just so smooth. So. I mean,
wow,
it's just on my toes at the moment. Literally on my toes, because I can't put my foot around the brake pedal. But the way it just comes up to a junction and just holds it, it's just all like a Tesla.
Right, and can you change the regen on it as well?
Yeah,
wow.
If you go into the app, there's little sliders where you can just change the power, max speed, regen. So on a Land Rover, for instance, we turn the regen way up, so that it can do things like hill descent mode and hold it and stop the vehicle from just running away with you when you're going downhill off-roading. But this is just so smooth. And the way the transition then happens to regen as well, everything's just so lovely to drive. It helps the fact that we've got power steering on it now, which we didn't have as standard with the petrol one. Although the petrol steering was really heavy, so when it was petrol, the steering was very heavy anyway, and there was already a power steering kit available for it. So even the petrol guys put on power steering as an optional extra, but we put it on just to modernise the feel of it. It's got traction control and 450 horsepower Tesla motor in the back.
Wonderful. Speak of the devil.
Tesla Model Y, is it?
Yeah. Fresh off the production line, 23 plate. Funnily enough, as I was driving here, I was following a TR5 on the back of an AA truck, and I was thinking it might be coming to you.
Not that I know of.
No.
We've got about 60 something cars in the order book at the moment, so
wow.
There probably will be a TR something coming to us at some point.
And what's the lead time at the moment? Is it 18 months, 24 months?
2 years at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got a fat order book, put it that way, which is nice. Keeps us busy, keeps us off the streets and out the pubs.
Yep.
Until Friday night, that is. But the handling now is much improved on this as well, because before all the weight was in the rear. You had the engine, gearbox, fuel tanks, exhaust, radiators, everything was in the rear.
Yep.
And only weight on the front was literally a spare wheel. So I understeered quite a lot into corners. I was sorely disappointed when I first drove it when it was petrol, but now it's just handled beautifully, because we've got a small battery pack in the front to give it a bit of weight on the front axles.
Yep.
And then there's another battery pack just behind us where the old fuel tanks used to be, and the rest of it is butt up against the bulkhead here.
These wonderful surroundings you got yourself in. You got the best roads, right?
Oh,
I mean,
it's best. It's where Top Gear and TV programs like that come to do filming. I live here, surrounded by these beautiful roads, mountain roads, off-roading, really smooth roads like this for sports cars. You can't go wrong.
A car enthusiast playground, isn't it?
Yeah, you just obviously have to obey the speed limit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean it's nice to have a bit of power as well. But the trouble is, within a half a second you're at the speed limit.
Yeah.
So, but handling on this is just insane. I mean, you expect the 0 to 60 to be like 3 point something seconds because it's a Tesla, motor in it. But the handling of most classic cars is really great, and we like to improve not just the drivetrain but also the handling and all the other aspects like power steering, traction control, suspension, and just get it tuned so that it's the optimal car it can be, and it's electric. Alright, so this is the front of the Testarossa. So the only impact into the luggage space is this box here. Yeah. That's used to have the spare wheel under there, but the front battery box is the same height as the spare wheel. So yeah, you kind of got exactly the same amount of luggage space in here, apart from this box here, which is the low voltage box.
And these are the original carpets.
Yeah, you can see it all kind of fits in. So there's your low voltage box there with all the relays and fuses and stuff that we have to add, along with some of the controllers are in there. So you've got your air conditioning controller in there, your motor controller is in there, and your VCU and stuff is all in there. You've got a display there that tells us all the bits and pieces that we need to know. It's off at the moment, but there's a display there for diagnostic purposes. Yeah. And then in the back is where all the rest of it's going on. So you saw in the other Testarossa, this is all empty. Well, essentially we've got the main battery box there, and there's another smaller battery box where the fuel tanks used to be underneath. Right. And then this is the Tesla motor, obviously. Yep. And it all sits on a cradle, if you like, that bolts onto the original engine mounts and subframe mounts. So essentially this and this is all held onto the original mounts, and it weighs less than the engine and gearbox that came out.
Yeah, that was amazing to see, because there's obviously a lot of myths around EV conversions that oh, it's going to be heavy, it's not going to handle, but when you guys get a hold of it,
yeah, definitely it handles better, and as far as performance is concerned, definitely better on that front. But weight-wise, I think this ended up being something like, I think 20 kilos heavier than the original, but the weight distribution was a lot better.
You can tell, I mean, just going out very smooth, really just feels like a factory electric car in that respect.
And the weight is all nice and low down as well. I mean, the engine weight was obviously is up as high as this, whereas the front battery pack is like way down low. The middle battery pack is way down low, and then this one here probably weight-wise finishes around about there, and obviously the motor's way down low as well. So it's just a better handling car all round. But I mean, if you can imagine from the front axle, from the axles or drive shaft, sorry, forwards, that's where all the weight is. Whereas previously the weight was like either side there and this side as well. Yeah. So it's improved it there. The only thing we've got to finish here now is we've got a vacuum formed boot that's going to go in here. That's going to increase the luggage space. So it's going to end up being a more practical car as well, because it's going to have more luggage space.
No, that was, I was thinking there was a little bit of space there that you could utilise. So yeah, that's fantastic.
The rear boot is actually going to end up being bigger than the front boot.
Right.
So yeah, performance is better, handling is better. Cost of ownership is a lot less, reliability is a lot improved, and now we've added the boot as well, so it's a lot more practical.
Awesome. No, thanks for showing us this, and
no
yeah,
worries.
Awesome drive, loved it.
Like that, didn't you?
Yeah, just a bit.
We'll have to have a race when the TVR's finished, mate.
I think I might need to add another motor. And there goes Moggy, and it's the end of the episode. I had an absolute blast being at Electric Classic Cars today, and a bit sad it's all over, to be honest. But it's great to meet some of the guys and just see the amazing work that Electric Classic Cars are doing with converting so many amazing classic cars. So Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.